Welcome to Nerd on Nerd with me, Ellie Kempster.
And me, Liam Underwood. And I'm going to make another bold prediction in this episode that it's going to be on time. An hour 20, yeah. I'm predicting.
Oh my god, an hour 20, that's...
An hour 20. Okay. If you don't rabbit on too much, we'll nail
it. Oh yes,
it.
I'm the problem.
Yes. In this episode, besides bold predictions, do you want to make a bold prediction before we start?
I think we're going to run over. I think it's going to run to exactly 1 hour 43. And luckily, listeners, I'm the editor, so I can just make it do that.
So if there's like 23 minutes of silence at the end...
that's me.
In this episode, we're talking about My Boyfriend is a Bear, which, to be clear, is a graphic novel, not a statement.
No.
Very funny joke there. Very pleased with it.
I'm laughing so loudly that I actually laughed so loudly that I think my mic cut out.
Yeah, I don't think it picked. It was one of those laughs that I think only dogs could hear.
Yeah.
Because dogs are attuned to loud noises.
Yeah, it's not pitch; it's level of noise.
Yeah. I know. I know how dogs work.
Yeah.
Before we get to all that nonsense, it's time for catching up with Ellie and Liam. Before we do catching up, though, can I ask a quick favour?
What a bold way to start the show. It's time for this section. Before that section, though.
Well, it sort of ties into that section. Can we quickly do the DVD tally?
Oh, you want to do it now?
Yeah.
All right.
Because it ties into my catching up with.
Oh, okay.
When I said before we do catching up with, I kind of meant as part of.
No, I'm going to do it now.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Okay. Well, last time, Liam, you were on 1,109 unwatched films in your unwatched film pile.
Yep.
We had the revelation that I had, or you had, told me a number wrong. Either I wrote a number down wrong, or you told me wrong.
Yep.
And I was less impressed with you than I was.
Yep.
So, dazzle me.
1,109.
Oh.
And let me explain why.
No change.
Let me explain why. I had a bloody nightmare, haven't I?
You've been on holiday in Austria?
Well, okay, so yeah. Went on holiday in Austria, so didn't watch any films then. I'll talk about that more in a bit. But also, my cinema room has basically been out of action for a week.
Okay, now and this isn't. I don't want this to seem mean because it's honestly not.
Could sound
I just want the listener. I want the listeners to understand. My thought process.
Yeah.
Right, which is I have visited Liam and Kat's a few times.
Yeah, a couple of times.
And they do have 2 TVs.
Yeah, okay.
Liam's cinema room is its own thing.
Compared to I'm
not trying to cause no. I'm just telling people there is a room that is Liam's cinema room.
Yeah. And
then there is a living room with a not as big TV.
No, it's the same size. It's the same size, but it's an older TV. It doesn't handle motion as well.
Okay, so it doesn't handle motion as well. Sorry.
It is a 4K TV, but it doesn't have the like colour thing that it's not UHD. It's not ultra high definition. It's just 4K.
When you say these things, do you ever catch yourself and just go, "Fuck me! I have such a ridiculous amount of like privilege."
Yeah, no. Do you know?
I'm like the
when I
luckiest
noticed
fucker.
it, and I don't know if I discussed it on the podcast. I noticed it when we did the Paranormal Activity Day, and we watched 4 films on one 65-inch TV, and we went, "Why don't we go to the other 65-inch TV? We're going to lose the surround sound, but we've got a soundbar, and we can watch this one in 3D."
Yeah.
That's when I was like, this is maybe.
I have it quite good.
Yeah. Anyway, so here's why it's been out of action for a week. Yeah. We have, since we've moved into this house, which was start of November 2018.
Yep.
We have been using the 2-seater the 2-seater sofa that should be in the living room.
Okay.
That's been in the cinema room.
Well, yeah, you've got a bigger one. Is it a bigger sofa?
There's a 3-seater in the living room for now.
Which makes sense. It makes sense to have the bigger sofa in the living room.
Yeah. But the goal is to have the 3-seater and the 2-seater both in the living room.
Got you. And then, something else.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, initially I ordered a sofa when we first moved in. It got here. And in doing that, we had... So, for a while, we had the 2-seater in the cinema room. Then we moved it into the living room. Got a new sofa in for the cinema room. And it was shit. I hated it. So we sent it back.
I think you might have told us that on the podcast.
Yeah, it's entirely possible.
But yeah.
Sent it back, moved the 2-seater back into the cinema room. Just after New Year, I ordered another sofa. Mm-hmm. That it was going to take like a couple of months to get here. Last week is when it was meant to arrive. Last Thursday. Yep. So Wednesday night, we moved the 2-seater back out of the cinema. And bear in mind, like, moving this two-seater sofa between just me and Kat is not a particularly easy process. Lots of dragging it along the floor. So I'm reluctant.
Better not be damaging that floor.
Or the sofa.
Well, no, it's the floor that's important, because that's the bit that you're renting that from someone else.
Yeah, but the sofa's mine, so that's more important to me.
Right, okay. You have your priorities wrong, but carry on.
On the Thursday, get a knock on the door. It's the guy from the sofa company. He goes, cool. "Oh, I'm here, but I've just looked on the lorry, and your sofa isn't on there."
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's like, I can't really do much about that. Here's a number. If they haven't got in touch by the end of the day, give them a call. And then off he trots. So I ring him back, and I'm like, okay, they're going to want to fix this quickly, I assume. We're like, oh yeah, so we've found your sofa. It's still in the warehouse. Like, well,
right.
That's good. Like,
that's unfortunate, but they can ship it out. Hey,
I was like, well,
ship it out. It's their mistake.
Yeah, I tried to lay on the guilt a bit. So I was like, well, I've taken a day off work to be home for this.
Yeah. I mean, that's not laying on the guilt. That's also, like, you can just say that.
Yeah. Then they just go, yeah, the soonest we can get it back out to you is a week from today.
Why?
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, oh, well, I guess it's going to have to be that then, isn't it? If that's the soonest you can do.
Did you tweet?
Ridiculous. No.
Liam!
I was having a shit week and I couldn't be bothered to get into it.
Did Kat tweet?
No, which is unlike her, isn't it?
Yeah, I'd have imagined if anyone was going to do it.
Kat loves doing that sort of thing.
She does.
But I didn't want to then move the two-seater back from the living room into the cinema room to have to move it back again in a week's time. So for the last week, all I've had is one of the dining room chairs set up in there.
I was going to jokingly say you should have put a dining room chair in there.
I did,
but you
and
did
it's
do
really
that.
uncomfortable.
Yes, obviously. God, the image of you in the dark with this massive TV and a little dining room chair just perched on it, like trying to watch a film, is hilarious.
Yeah, so obviously I couldn't watch any films for Austria. Initially, they offered to deliver the sofa the first time when I was away in Austria, so I had to move it back a week for that. Then it went on the lorry, so that had to get moved back a week again. But yeah, so that's why I haven't really watched any films since we last spoke.
I mean, at least you haven't bought any more.
That is also a good thing that I'm pleased you're recognising.
But you are behind on your current target, I think.
Yeah, I need a free weekend where I can do like a movie weekend and just watch like a bunch and just knock that number down a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was the sofa debacle.
Yeah, that's pretty nightmarish.
But it arrived today, and I've got a puff now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I can put my feet up.
That's nice.
Yeah, perfect. I've never had a puff
Wasn't
before.
it just usually you sitting in the cinema room by yourself?
Yeah.
Usually. So you could put your feet up.
Well, Kat comes in to have dinner.
Kat, I know you don't listen, but I don't understand your life and why you let this happen.
Because the TV's better, so she wants to come in because we watch stuff when we eat.
Well, then, if that was true and she actually cared like that, why would she not be in there more, being like, come on, let me watch TV in here, you go in the other room?
Because she likes watching terrestrial TV and we don't have an aerial in that room, so we can only watch things like Netflix and films. There's reasons for everything.
Yeah. There are, and they aren't the real reasons. They're just reasons that you are very good at coming up with, so you don't seem as bad as you are.
Hey, I'm very good.
Sorry, that hey really got me.
Kat doesn't listen, but I did make her listen to our discussion on lying last week, and she said it now makes sense why people were tweeting her things like, "I'm sorry, Kat."
I genuinely enjoy that people actually did that. I'm so happy.
Yeah. So yeah, do you want me to talk about Austria now, or
no, go on, hit us with Austria.
Austria. I went to Austria. I went there for what? 5 days.
3 days?
5. Well.
Oh, okay, fine. It was over a weekend, right? But then was
so I did 3 days of skiing, but then the first day was getting there, and then the last day was getting back. Which it doesn't take long, to be fair.
No.
But so yeah, it was like a 4-night trip.
Yeah.
That's the best way of describing it, isn't it? When you talk about holidays and things.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So, firstly, flight there, real quick, like 2 hours, if that.
Oh, was this the one where you got like a massive tailwind or something? Or was that, am I thinking of something else?
You're thinking of something else. I don't think I got a tailwind.
My bad.
I started watching an episode of Luke Cage because I'm slowly working my way through that. By the time I started it, we'd already landed before we'd finished. So, yeah.
That's all right.
Hotel, ridiculously posh. So, the reason why we went to Austria and this specific place is, one, my mum is like trying to do things with me before like I can't because of my eyes. So we're sort of like doing more things than we normally would.
You dickhead.
What?
I don't know, just the way you threw that in. But yeah, no, I know you didn't do it like that. I'm sorry.
It's like that's one, but also
it's because it's such a like you saying that is a legitimately sad thing.
Yeah,
but it's also like I don't know the fact that you're. I don't know why that's funny. It shouldn't be, and it isn't.
But
the actual situation isn't funny, but it got me anyway. I just cut that out because fuck me. Not you saying it. Oh my god.
Oh, Ellie's just digging herself into a hole now, and it's just going to get harder and harder to cut it.
Yeah. So your mum was whatever. Just carry on. I can't be bothered.
She's trying to do things like that where we can, just because we don't know how long I've got unless science comes through and fixes me. Which there has been positive news lately, so maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll see. So we went to Austria because my mum's partner Ian, he had been there before with work.
Oh, okay.
Because his work do like weekend trips skiing that the company pays for, and obviously,
What?
I know, ridiculous, right?
What's his job?
I don't actually know.
Oh,
I know he's either becoming or he's now a director at that company because he's been there for a while and he's sort of worked his way. But like,
when you don't know what someone's job is like that it does make me immediately think he might be a hitman.
Yeah, I don't know. I know.
I don't actually know what Ian does, but he's a director of it.
Yeah, he works in London, and from where they live, it means he has to get up at like 6:30 and get on like a 7 a.m. train to get into the office on time.
Yeah,
which is shit. But equally, they get like paid for trips skiing. So, and also, so they do that, but because the company pay for it, they get to stay at quite a swanky hotel.
Yeah.
So, for some reason, we went to that hotel that was ridiculously swanky.
Was it the kind where it's like so swanky? Oh, I don't know. I'm trying to figure out how you would be in a swanky hotel. Like, are you the kind of person that goes into a posh hotel and is like, "Oh God, I'm not posh enough to be here"?
It wasn't that posh. The thing is, it was a hotel that was predominantly for like couples on their honeymoon. So it wasn't people staying there particularly long.
And then you, your mum, and Ian.
Yep. Yeah. There weren't a lot of other families there because it's a hotel that doesn't allow anyone under 16.
Oh, right, got you.
So that was nice. But yeah, so the first day there, I got the lay of the land. They've got like a spa section. There was a naked spa section I didn't go to. I wanted to, so I could talk about it.
Yeah, no, you shouldn't. You wouldn't be able to handle it.
Well, the thing is, I looked up online reviews about it, and they said, one, and this is what I didn't like, the nudity was very strictly enforced by a clothed person that like is not allowing people there unless they're naked, which makes, I don't know, it's just weird. And two, the locals can pay membership to the spa facilities, and they said
a lot of hotels do that.
They said it's a lot of just old Austrian naked men, which I was like, I'd fit in. I don't really.
You could have had one of those like movie moments where you like meet a bunch of old Austrian naked dudes and become like their adopted boy.
I've not seen any movies like that.
and then they take you in the back room and you suck them all off.
I'm worried about what movies you're watching.
Just lots of porn.
Apparently the UK is bringing in a block next month. I know they've been talking about it for ages, but apparently it's actually happening.
Is it actually happening? Well, it won't stop anyone.
No, because VPN, but...
Hell yeah.
Hence why I was asking you and Dan questions about VPN earlier, because here's what the government...
Well, you're safe. What are they going to block? I know what shit you watch. Yours isn't even going to be remotely touched. They'll be like...
apparently, now, right, if you're a porn company or like a porn site that's I was going to say airing, that's wrong, but like accessible from the UK... Yeah. There's going to be like a single sign-on thing that you have to go through for any site. Once you've logged into it, you're fine. You can access any site, but you have to do it. You have to prove your identity, or you can pay. It was something like $4.99 for and like essentially an ID card that you can use to access. It's honestly ridiculous.
It's just insanity.
Yeah. Back to Austria.
Yeah. Sorry.
So. Yeah, first day was just getting lay of the land. Second day is when I nearly had a panic attack on a mountain, which was terrifying.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
So yeah, go on. Tell everyone the story of how you nearly died on a mountain.
Here's the thing: when you've only got 3 days, one, you want to make the most of it, but two, Ian had booked us because he's been there before and knows the lay of the land.
Yeah.
A restaurant that was at the top of the mountain that you could only get to by skiing. That he booked because it has really nice like panoramic views.
Oh, that's quite nice.
So on the first day, cloud rolled in.
Yep.
We had the best way of describing it is, do you know what a whiteout is?
Yeah. Where is that? I think you described it to me. I think originally I just thought it was when there was a lot of snow and you couldn't see, but then you said it's like snow and fog or cloud. Is that right?
Close. It's something. It's also something to do with the way the sun is reflecting or some shit. So everything looks flat.
Oh.
It looks white and flat, which when you're on a mountain, like, and you're doing skiing, it is very rarely ever flat.
Yes.
And you can like watch someone ski ahead of you, and you'll see them going, and they just disappear where the dip is, but you have no idea where that dip is.
Yeah.
So that plus fog because the cloud was in. That was the conditions for the first day. I didn't get my ski legs back at all. So not only was that happening, but also I was trying to ski the way I remember skiing, and my skis just were not responding the way they felt like they should.
Okay.
Which was terrifying because I've never had that before. Even when I had like a 10-year gap between skiing, I've never skied that badly before. I think a part of it was that my boots were too loose, but everything else was going on that I hadn't quite managed to drill down. I thought it was just my technique being off.
Yeah.
I fell. So normally when you're skiing, it makes sense to fall backwards into the mountain because if you're on a slope...
Yeah, you don't want to fall forwards and like tumble.
Yeah, I fell forward.
Right.
Landed on my shoulder and somehow also hurt my thumb on my other hand, which that happened 2 weeks ago and now still hurts. So I don't know what I've done there.
Go to a doctor.
Oh, I don't really want to.
Well, better to get it sorted than sit with it.
The thing is, like, I can bend it and stuff, so it's clearly not broken or anything, and I can move it around. So I don't know what it could be.
Pulled a ligament?
Oh, I don't know. That'll just fix itself, though, if that's the case.
No.
Doctor won't help that.
Ligaments wouldn't. A pulled muscle would fix itself. A pulled ligament wouldn't. But carry on.
What can a doctor do about a pulled ligament?
They can fix those things. It's probably not a pulled ligament. You wouldn't be able to bend it.
There we go then. It's like you can see. I'm showing you now on camera.
He is showing me him moving his thumb, listeners, as if that proved. Yeah, very good. It moves.
But I whacked it. I whacked it on my chair earlier.
Blood is pouring out of the joint.
I whacked it on my chair earlier, and it really hurt.
Yeah, go to a fucking doctor. It doesn't sound like it's okay.
It's not. But yeah. So that was basically just trying to. The other issue, I've never skied on this mountain before, so I have no idea how long a run is. So you're skiing through fog, not knowing where dips are. I was aware that the way the runs work out there is you've got blue, which is the easiest, red, which is medium, and then like black, which is hard.
Yeah.
I was on a blue run. Well, all three of us were. We knew that there were reds and blacks that came off of it, but we didn't know where, and the fog was so bad that you also couldn't really see.
Yeah, got you.
It was terrifying.
What you do? Did you all try and like ski down together? How do you? I've never been skiing, so I don't know how.
Yeah,
it works.
so because Ian had been to that resort and been to that mountain before, he went first, and then we kind of just had to like follow him as best as we could.
Got you.
But yeah, I was just snow plowing the entire way, which is the very, very basic first thing you learn to do when you ski, and is not.
Is that when you put your feet?
Yeah, you make like a pizza slice with your skis. Yeah. Now, when you actually know how to ski properly, you should hardly ever really do that because you do like parallel skiing, where they always stay parallel. But yeah, it was just horrendous. So, and the whole reason why we had to ski that day is because we had this restaurant booked, which the whole reason Ian booked it was for the views, which all we saw was cloud.
Was the restaurant itself not like? Because I imagine if it's got really nice panoramic views, like I know you're sitting there being like, "Oh fuck me, this is a terrible whiteout that's happening," so it's not great. But is there like some part of it that you're like, "Oh, it's actually quite cool being in a panoramic view that is just white"? I don't know. That sounds quite cool to me.
I think it would have been cool if in my head it wasn't. You've got to ski down from this somehow.
Yeah, got you.
So yeah, that was sort of. It 100% would have been cool. It was very much like. Have you seen the film The Mist, right?
Yeah.
It was a lot like that. Just horrible. Right. The second and third days, amazing weather. Like, sun, not a cloud in the sky, brilliant. Just, honestly, the first day did so much, like, damage to my confidence skiing that I then had to spend all of the second day on, like, one very easy run just building my confidence up. And then the third day, I actually got to do some skiing, which was quite nice. But yeah, that was Austria. Oh, and on the second day, there was like a rugby match that my mum and Ian wanted to go watch, and I didn't. So I went down to the pool area where there was like a jacuzzi or hot tub. And from my position on a bench without my glasses on, all I could see was like someone's back and no one else in it. And I'm like, oh, okay, it's just one person in it. I'll just go sit on the other side. That's fine. And then as I got closer and just like was awkwardly sort of fumbling my way in, I realised that it was a dude, and what I couldn't see was his girlfriend or partner that was literally attached to his face as I'm awkwardly clambering in to this hot tub, which is also in like quite a dark corner of the room. So kind of, they didn't stay in the hot tub long once I got in.
Why would you get in a hot tub with another person anyway?
It was a big one. Like, it wasn't like... I don't know what you're thinking when you think hot tub.
I'm picturing
like,
a hot tub.
You could have fit, I reckon, at a squeeze about 20 people in it.
Oh, okay.
So it wasn't like... It wasn't a cozy, like 6 people max.
Got you.
It was a decent size. But, I mean, even so, like, I still sat on the other end and they kind of just...
And they definitely thought you were a weird pervert.
Yeah, most likely.
And they were right.
The problem with hot tubs and all that sort of thing is it expands your swimming trunks.
Yes.
So even if you're not being pervy, you couldn't tell.
Okay, yeah. Well, I don't know if that's a problem, is it?
I don't know. But yeah, Austria was nice. I discovered that there's an Austrian delicacy which is essentially torn pancakes.
Okay.
So they make this like amazing like pancake thing that you then get in chunks and you dip it in. Out there it was like applesauce.
Oh, okay.
Which I didn't think I'd like, and turns out I like a lot.
Why wouldn't you have liked it? It's torn pancakes. You like pancakes.
I do, but I don't think applesauce... Like, you know you're meant to eat applesauce with, like, pork or some bullshit, and I never do, because I don't understand it.
You have things like apple strudel and stuff. You have dessert.
Oh, yeah, I like that. Yeah, I don't know. I just liked it more than I thought I would.
I like the way your brain works and doesn't put these things together.
I even had apple strudel out there.
You had dessert apple, and you're like, oh yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I had apple strudel out there. I was like, oh yeah, that's nice. Had some Jaeger bombs.
Who was that? You, your mum, and Ian?
Just me and Ian. We were partying.
To
be fair,
having a little party.
I was celebrating getting down that mountain in one piece.
That's fair.
Yeah.
What did you think of a Jaeger? Have you had Jaeger bombs before?
We've had them before when we went to Scandals once.
Oh yeah,
it was alright. I don't really have a lot of like Red Bull, so you know.
It's more the Jaeger that I don't like in those.
I didn't mind it in all honesty, but we had it with Coke.
Taste.
Yeah, we had it with Coke when we had it before.
What?
I thought.
No, that's not a Jaeger bomb.
Oh, what did we have then?
It would have been Red Bull.
And Coke? No. It was dark when we had it before. I don't know what was in there. I just drank it. And I think
you might have just had a vodka and Coke, Liam.
Oh, I don't even know. But anyway, I had Jaeger bomb. It was good. The other thing about Austria is I was looking for like something to bring Kat back. I found that something amazing in the end, but there were so many penis-themed things that I ended up taking
I don't think that's an Austria problem. That's just everywhere you go on holiday, if there's any chance that like lads on tour will go there.
Yeah.
It seems like immediately there'll be about 10 tourist shops that are just like penises, right?
Yeah. You could get like a penis bottle opener. My favourite that you saw was a penis salt and pepper shaker.
Oh, that's quite good.
Yeah, that was the one I was most tempted to get her, but I didn't. There was one that was just like a plastic sperm that I think turned out to be a pen.
Oh.
Weird.
Interesting.
But in the end, I got her this little cow bear thing, right? Like a teddy bear cow. But you talk at it, and then it repeats back to you what you said in like a high-pitched voice.
That's fucking horrifying.
Yeah, it's brilliant. So I didn't tell her, and then I turned it on and gave it to her, and then she was like, "What's this?" And then it repeated back like, "Watch this." It was brilliant.
Oh, jeez.
That was my Austria trip.
Oh, well, it sounds like you had a good time for most of it.
2 of the 3 skiing days were really good.
Well, I'm glad you didn't die on a mountain as well, buddy.
Thanks. It was close.
Yeah.
It was close. It felt like it was close. But I survived. And now I'm here. Like, I knew I had to come back to do the podcast.
Yeah, exactly. That got you through.
That was the one thought. I was like, oh, if I die now, I'm just going to let Ellie down. And I couldn't bring myself to do that.
No, thanks, buddy.
That's all right. So, what have you been up to?
I have had 2 things, Liam. I've got 2 things that I've been up to.
Okay.
One of them is the thing I've been up to. One is just a sort of thing that happened to me.
Okay.
So the thing that happened was the other day, you know how in like shopping centres, you get like little stalls that are like trying to sell you shit. Like not the shops.
Give some examples.
Like I don't know, they're like pop-up shops that are like selling, almost like you get a lot of phone case ones.
Yeah,
where there'll be someone and they won't be there every time.
Yeah, there was one in Basingstoke not too long ago that is where, you know, we've got those coasters that have like superhero thing, like little glass coasters. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
So where I work in Victoria, in that shopping centre, there was a pop-up shop the other day. I think they're there quite a lot, but I don't really pay attention to them. And I'd gone into Sainsbury's to grab something. A little Sainsbury's local came out. I was walking past and I heard someone saying, "Hey, you," and I was like, I don't usually look around for that kind of thing because I'm like, they're not talking to me.
Don't you normally walk with like headphones on or something? Anyway,
yeah, I've got my noise cancelling headphones.
Yeah,
but I just was like, oh, that's a bit weird. Turned round and this woman was like, come over here, and I was like, okay. In my head, I was like, cool. They're going to try and sell me some shit. I'm going to feel guilty. I'm not going to want to buy it because fuck it. I get my own shit from wherever I need.
Yeah,
I don't need this. So it was all like beauty products, like skincare and all that shit, organic and whatever, made with natural ingredients. So she tried out all these, like, I think, what did I do? I rubbed salt on my hands. Have you ever done that?
Sauce?
Salt.
Oh,
SALT.
salt. Yeah, no, I've never done that.
Makes your hands really soft. It was like very fine salt. Makes your skin very soft. She was like, your hands are soft now. And I was like, yes, they are.
Yes, magic. This is magic salt.
Amazing. Then there was like some other shit. I can't remember what that one did. I was like, yeah, it's amazing. What a miracle cure this is. And then she's like, oh yeah, okay, yeah. Well, you know, we're selling this, and I was like, yeah. And she was like, it's 60. Or she said it's 60 for 60 each of these 2 pots. And I went, sorry, 16?
So wait, these aren't 2 pots. These aren't 2 pots of salt, right? They're 2 pots of...
No, not the salt. This is like moisturising cream or something.
Right, okay.
I think she was selling the salt separately as another thing.
Right. So you got...
She'd asked, she was like, which one of these are you most interested in? And I was like, I don't know.
So wait, one of the pots was moisturising cream, and the second
It might have been was the salt, possibly.
Right. Okay.
It's like special... It's like Dead Sea salt. It's not like... It's not just table salt.
Yeah.
It's like pink... weird shit. I don't know, Liam.
No, I've seen it in like the body shop when Cat drags it in there, so I sort of know what you mean. Yeah. Which is also a very overpriced shop.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Is it 60 quid?
It's not that
for
overpriced.
A pot?
No,
because that's expensive. So I was
how big are we? How big is this pot?
I'm gesturing to Liam with my hands, maybe like that. So
that's like, I reckon, 2-inch circumference?
Maybe a little bit bigger than that. 3.
Okay.
So she gestures at these 2 pots and she's like, they're 60 quid each. I was
Quick
like,
question, sorry. Circumference, is that...
Oh my god, you're worrying so much about the size.
No, I just
don't worry.
Is circumference from one side to the other side, or from the middle of a circle to the edge of the circle?
Circumference is... No, we're both getting it wrong. Circumference is the whole outer rim.
Okay.
Diameter's all the way across, radius is half.
Alright, so...
circumference is the whole circle. I meant diameter.
That's what I meant, I think.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so like 3-inch diameter.
Which means it's a circle that from
one side to the other is 3 inches.
3 inch. I wanted to.
You're worrying so much about the size, and it's so irrelevant to the story.
Our listeners needed to understand. No, it is important because when you say it's like £60, if that was a huge, massive bucket, then that's good value.
Industrial barrel.
Yeah, that's really good value. It
was not good value.
Tiny 3-inch diameter pot.
It was very expensive for what it was.
There we go.
I said, no, I'm all right. That's way over my budget. Yeah. I can't afford that. And she was like, oh, what is your budget? I went, well, it's like, honestly, like maybe at most 40 quid for something. No, for like both.
Yeah.
I was like, maybe 40 quid for both would be like, then I'd have been like, oh, maybe I'll get them because it's quite, a fair amount. And she was like, oh, right. Oh, okay. And I was like, yeah, sorry, like, thank you for showing me it. When I get money, maybe I'll come back and have a look. I wasn't going to. I was just placating her. Yeah. So, like, that's sort of the end of it. She's like, oh, okay, well, I'll give you a business card. And, if you want to get some at some point, you can just use that. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So she walks off. And then she comes back very quickly. And she genuinely, she leans over, like, super conspiratorially.
Yeah.
And she's like, okay, look, I'm going to do you a deal. And I was like, okay. I was like, oh fuck, she's gonna like. This is like a selling tactic where she's like, oh, if they say no, you give them the selling tactic.
Yeah.
She's like, look, I'll give you my staff discount on this other thing. It wasn't for those 2 pots. It was for this other thing that I'd said was quite impressive. It was like a exfoliating cream or some shit. I don't know. So I'll do you a deal on that. I'll get you a staff discount. So I was like, okay, how much is that? And she went. She gets out her phone.
Yeah. Types
into the calculator on her phone and shows me like this, so that no one else can see what she's doing and no one can hear what she says. And I was like, okay, this is fucking weird. And it was like 29 quid. And I was like, I can't be asked. I'm just gonna fucking buy it because this is who I am. And I'm just like, she's tried so hard.
What was the RRP of that? Still like 60 quid or something?
Well, no. I'll get to that in a bit later because that's the whole point of the fucking story. So I was like, fine, I'll buy it. Whatever. It's too expensive for what it is.
Yeah.
I don't care about. I'm never gonna use it. But she's earned this sale.
Right.
She's quite nice. I'll buy it. So she goes over and does all this stuff. Brings over the card machine. I tried to use my phone to pay for it. The machine's like, nah, this isn't going through. And then her manager noticed and was like, came over to help. And I was like, oh fuck, if this is real, she's told me not to tell anyone. And her manager is now involved in this deal.
Yeah.
And then her manager goes, okay, so how much was this? And she very like properly like, oh fuck. She was like, 30 quid. And the manager's like, right. And then did it all. And I'm now like, if this is a selling tactic, they have got like a script.
Yeah. Like they've done some like acting classes. Yeah.
And then the manager like types it all in, gets it ready. The phone still doesn't work. I end up getting my card out, and then the manager turned to me and went, "She must really like you if she's doing this deal for you." And I was like, "Right, okay." So I'm like, "Okay, well, this is feeling real now."
Yeah.
Like I'm slightly worried. I feel really bad for this girl because I feel like she's getting in trouble.
Yeah.
Trying to do something nice for me that I don't even fucking want.
Yeah.
So eventually it all goes through, and I was like, "Okay, cool." I was like, "Oh, thank you so much." She was like, "No worries, no worries." I walked away, and I was like, I got the receipt, so I was like, oh, well, I'll see what it says on the receipt.
Yeah.
Like, surely the staff discount's what, 10%? That seems reasonable.
Yeah.
The recommended retail price was, I think it was like 90 quid, and I paid 30 for it. So she gave me this like 66% discount.
Wow. And it's something you don't even have you used it?
No, it's sitting on my floor.
What is it?
Like an exfoliating cream.
What's that?
It like gets rid of blackheads and stuff. Like you rub it on your skin and it cleans it.
Oh, I think I've tried that before and I couldn't keep up with it.
I mean, it was very impressive when she did it. Like she was like, "Look at it on your wrist. It's getting all this grime out of your skin." And I was like, "Oh, geez, yeah. Why are my wrists so dirty?"
See, every now and again, right?
Why did she? No, Liam. No.
What?
I'm not gonna let you distract me. I need to find out why. Like I know that I've spoken to you about this already, and we sort of came to the conclusion she was just nice.
Yeah.
But that's such a weird... Like, that is really nice. But why?
Well...
Why would you do that for a random stranger?
Okay, maybe, right? Maybe she kind of looked at you, she was like, I'm not getting a sale here at all. Like, I don't know. Yeah. If she works on commission, she's going to get more commission by having you pay, like, £30 than by not having you pay at all.
Yeah, but then at the risk that you're going to get in trouble, because it legitimately looked like she was getting in trouble.
That is the risk she took.
Okay, well, maybe.
Or maybe she was just really nice.
Surely she wouldn't get commission on that.
Okay, maybe she saw you and was like, Jesus Christ, she needs all the help she can get. And
that's the thing. That's where I'm like, is that the actual reason?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, maybe.
The thing with that sort of stuff is every now and again, Kat will make me go into one of those types of shops. Not like a really expensive one like that, but something like the Body Shop, which is more of a retail chain. And
it's still expensive, like you said.
Yeah. It's not like 90 quid for a little pot, but it's still more than it's worth, really. And every now and again, I'll be like, all right, I'm going to try and get something to, like, help my face out or whatever.
Yeah.
And I can do it for about a week, and then I don't see any results. I'm like, I'm sick of this. I'm bored. I'm not going to do it anymore. But, like, I've tried all sorts of things. Like, we've tried, like, those strips that you put on. Not like a face mask, but like I don't know what they're called, like a strip, and then you peel it off, and it's meant to bring all of the like yucky stuff out of your skin, and
yeah.
I can't deal with it.
Well, your skin's not like
my nose is really bad. I've got to fix my nose somehow, but nothing I've tried has worked. And also, after waxing, I was recommended this like tub with like beads. It's like a gel with beads in.
Yeah, that's also like exfoliate.
Yeah,
dead skin
I'm meant to use
stuff.
that after waxing, and it's meant to help, but I don't think it does. I've tried it.
Yeah,
just smells faintly okay.
Nice,
but
it's just weird.
Yeah, that is weird.
It was just a weird experience. It was just that moment where I looked at the receipt and I was like, especially the whole time me being like, I'm pretty positive this is a sales tactic.
Yeah.
And then slowly being like, maybe it isn't. And then seeing how much of a discount I'd gotten on it, I was like, oh Jesus, what a lovely thing for that person to do. But I now feel even worse that she got in trouble for it.
I think really, you should be using it like in honour of that woman.
Well, no, because I'm worried that it'll be really good, and then I'll have to spend 90 quid getting another one.
That's
Ellie cannot afford that.
No, but surely it's better to use one and never any more than not use one at all, right? That you've already paid for.
Was that like, did you just turn the it's better to have loved and lost than never to have loved before? Did you just turn that into a thing about exfoliating cream?
Yep. Did it work?
Yeah, it kind of made sense.
Cool, good.
I think it might have been a bit too deep for exfoliating cream.
You never know.
Well, the other thing I did, Liam, let's move on to that because that's more interesting and less confusing.
I know, we did spend about 10 minutes talking about that last topic.
Yeah, sorry. It's a long story, but I have to tell the whole thing to make it have the impact of how confused I was.
Well, I think our listeners are going to feel that impact.
Good, I'm glad. I went to see Hamilton, Liam, finally.
Hey, so you got this as a Christmas present for...
Yeah, for Mum and Dad.
Yeah, and I mean, you've only had to wait, what, like three-ish months?
Yeah, but that 3-ish months has been hell, because as you know, and I think we maybe spoke about on here, I listened to the Hamilton soundtrack for non-stop for like 2 of those months.
Okay.
Which was, I put myself through torture.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, this is such a good soundtrack, and now I have to wait.
That is, and I think that's the other thing is, you listen to the soundtrack and you're like, oh, it's amazing, but then when you see it, the problem I had is I didn't listen to the soundtrack before I went the first time, which is why I wanted to go a second time, because it was so overwhelming, like having it all happening and also trying to like listen as it was happening as well.
Yeah.
And it was too overwhelming. I don't think I appreciated it the first time as much as I did the second time.
See, I did because I'd listened to the soundtrack.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And then I said to my mum and dad, because after I think I started listening to the soundtrack, and then you were like, well, yeah, I'd actually say you should listen to it before you go. And I was like, oh, good, I'm doing that, but slightly too early. So mum and dad both listened to it before we went and saw it as well. And I think that helped, because the thing that, like, listening to it first means that you sort of understand the story.
Yeah, but not the nuances necessarily.
There were a couple of bits that mum was like, oh, I didn't even realise that in the song. And I was like, oh, I realised that's what was happening, but I didn't know... Yeah, like why or whatever.
Sometimes it can be hard in the songs to necessarily pick out who is talking to who at times.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
I'm wondering. I think there was a song where I was like, oh, I didn't realise that was Aaron Burr singing that or something.
Yeah.
It's fucking amazing though.
It's so good. Thing.
Yeah. It's just all the stage, all the like the acting on the stage, all the production that goes into it, and like. They just do such amazing things on that stage to make you feel like you're watching it actually happening. It's mind-blowing.
The only thing that I would love to experience, obviously, besides seeing it with like Lin-Manuel Miranda playing the lead part.
I was going to say, that's
I would love to experience it in New York, just for the reaction during, I think it's the first cabinet battle meeting thing.
Yeah.
Where they're like, you could have been anywhere, but you're here with us in New York City, ready for a cabinet meeting. I just imagine that line has like a response in New York that's like...
Did yours not get a response?
Not really, no.
Dude, my audience, we were so into all those bits. Like, literally, when he did that, and he was like, you could have been anywhere, the whole audience went, woo! We did the woo. It was great.
Oh, yeah.
It was awesome.
Both times I've seen it, I don't think I've had that.
And there's the bit with when Thomas Jefferson comes back from France.
Yeah.
Was he doing like pumping up your audience and getting you all to join in? Because that I was like, this is so good because everyone's just joining in. Like, I don't know, it made it all feel awesome. Yeah. But I think they were surprised that we joined in with Cabinet Battle because there was a moment where they were sort of like, oh, okay.
Were there, because you listened to the soundtrack a lot.
Yeah.
Did you notice at any point anything different?
Well, yeah. So I've heard that the American version and the English version are different. They tried to make King George slightly more camp in the English version and less. But to me, it's very similar, and I didn't actually notice that at all.
Yeah,
like neither version, I was like, as a British person, I'm offended.
Yeah, no, but we're not like
maybe
that.
He gets, but then I think seeing it as well probably makes a difference because there's stuff that King George does on stage that you don't realise he's doing when you're listening to the soundtrack.
Yeah,
that I was like, oh, that's hilarious and amazing.
Like there's a very specific bit with the lighting that is brilliant.
Yeah. But yeah, so that I guess those bits might be different. Like because there was a bit, I don't know if he did, where he stayed on stage for one of the songs.
Yeah.
And then he has these bits in his songs where he like jiggles his shoulders. He's very like the first song this character does is he stands perfectly still the entire song, and then I think right at the end he does like a little tiny dance.
Shimmy. Yeah.
And then in his second or third, like he reprises that song a couple of times, and in one of the other ones he like dances for the whole song, and it's still just this little shoulder wiggle and a bit of flamboyant like moving his cane or whatever. But he then stays on stage, and he was doing that dance through a different song, and the guy that played Aaron Burr, so I don't think he does it every time, because the guy that plays Aaron Burr literally turned around to say something to him in character, and King George was just behind him going, do, do, do. And he literally, the guy playing Aaron Burr, like, burst out laughing and had to, like, take a moment.
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't think he normally does that. I think he's doing it just to be weird.
Yeah, no, so there was definitely a song where he stayed, like...
Yeah, I think he stayed on stage, but I think he was doing something different.
Yeah.
It might have been not even the dance. It might have been something else he was doing to put him off as a joke. But I was like, that kind of stuff is why
Did you
stages
notice,
break.
and I don't know if this was just for the benefit of the UK audience or not, but it's not on the soundtrack. During a song, I think it's during when a character dies maybe, there's a letter that's read out that isn't on the soundtrack. It's definitely something where I think it's Aaron Burr reads out, and it's not like...
I know there were a few bits where something like that happened that wasn't on the soundtrack, but the soundtrack doesn't have a lot. There's a lot of interstitial bits that aren't on in the soundtrack.
Well, I didn't notice a lot. Just that was the only one I really noticed
early on when there's a lot of the songs flow together, but then there'll be like these almost
like musical
there are like
bits.
These music stings, and then people like saying a few minor things that I was like, oh, that's not in the soundtrack. That doesn't go there. Like Story of Tonight and stuff had a couple of moments like that where they were like, I don't know, had a little bit in between to explain something, or to not explain, but like just to emphasize.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Yeah, that was the only one I noticed because it was like quite a significant. Like it was like they were reading out a letter. I don't think it even rhymed necessarily, so it was very much like I don't know. Anyway, what was your favourite bit?
The whole thing.
Anything that surprised you?
No.
Okay.
I cried the exact amount of times. Oh no, actually that's true. I cried an extra time than I've ever cried before. Because listeners, I cry when I listen to the soundtrack because it's very emotional. I can't even remember what song it was, but there was a song that I've never cried at before that I was just like, oh, seeing it live and how it fits into the story made it way more emotional than I thought it would be. And I can't remember what song it was.
I can't help you.
No, I know. The problem is there's so many songs in there that I cry at.
Yeah.
I left at the end. I turned to me and mum and dad were leaving, and I was like, "So, how many times did you guys cry?" Knowing my dad would be like, "None," but my mum was like, "Oh, I didn't cry," and I was like, "Oh, I cried a lot."
But you do that anyway.
Yeah, it's very emotional.
It is. There is a bit that nearly got to me.
Quiet Uptown?
No, it's just a little bit before that.
Burn?
Bit after that.
The bit. Okay, so yeah, if it's after Burn, yeah.
It's the actress's reaction.
Yeah. Yes, I think I'm assuming I know what bit you're talking about.
Yeah,
which also gets me
because you don't hear that reaction in the soundtrack. No. So then when you see it on stage, it's just delivered so well.
The song just ends very sadly, but then on stage there's an extra bit, and you're like, oh no.
Yeah, exactly. Which we're being very careful here, listeners. It might be annoying if you've seen Hamilton, but we're trying to not spoil things for people that haven't seen it.
Yeah. Sorry. But also, you're welcome.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone should go see Hamilton when it goes down in price, because it is very expensive.
It is expensive, but it's kind of worth it.
That's why someone at work had said to me, like, oh, let me know if it's worth the money. And I was like, it is. Like,
yeah.
I spent a lot.
It's just, I'm sure I said this last time we spoke about it, But every time I describe it to people, I'm like, it's such a hard sell. Because someone says to you, what is that about?
It's a rapping musical about American history, specifically around the time of the War of Independence, focusing specifically on Alexander Hamilton, who dealt with the financial establishment of the United States.
And was one of the founding fathers.
I don't want to watch that.
Yeah, exactly. And every time I try and describe it, I've even tried to use, like... Because I've watched interviews with Lin-Manuel Miranda, and the way he describes it, where he's like, oh, so we're trying to tell like the story of America then by using like the cast of America now, so the cast look like what America looks like now, where it's all like people of colour, and we're trying to use like hip-hop and rap and R&B. And every time I try and tell people this, you just see their eyes glaze over, and they're just like, I don't want to go see that.
The selling... The bit that I have used to describe it to people, which I also got from... seeing him talking about it, was it's Alexander Hamilton is a spiritual father to the entire hip-hop movement.
Yeah.
He's a man that started with nothing, worked his way to the top to get everything, and lived this like and wrote, like put his words on paper for a living. That's how he made his money. Yeah. And I quite like that description of it, because I'm like, I could see that people being like, oh yeah, that does sound kind of cool. And they watch it and they're like, wait a minute, this is financial stuff. And then they're like, oh my God, it's amazing.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's like one of my favourite things is to listen to Stephen Colbert describe it, where he was like, oh, okay, so I'm going to go watch a play about Alexander Hamilton. Okay. And he's like 5 minutes into it, he's like, oh, this is actually very clever. I wonder if they can sustain this. It's like, by the end, I'm crying about Alexander Hamilton, and it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Yep.
So good.
Oh, it's so good. Everyone go watch it, but don't if you don't have the money. I don't want to pressurise you into watching it.
I wish.
Listen to the soundtrack. Legitimately.
I wish that there was like
just listen to the
a
soundtrack.
way of watching it, not necessarily going to watch it, but like like not a film of it, but like a video recording.
Yeah, because I know that they've done that before for musicals, but they don't seem to do it. Like Cats has that.
Yeah,
I know that the Cats musical had a DVD release because I know that my parents owned it.
They have filmed Hamilton because they filmed it for some American like library, like
so like an archive.
Yeah, exactly. But it hasn't been made available because obviously as soon as it does, people will be like, well, why do I have to go and see it live?
Yeah, that's the thing, is we have to wait for it to come off the stage, which isn't going to happen because it's so fucking... It's like the biggest musical that's been released for years.
Yeah. It's just... And it's the other thing that's really fascinating to me after watching it is reading up all of the influences and all of the little like the musical nods. Like the 10 Dual Commandments is based off of some like hip hop song which has that list kind of motive in it.
Yeah.
And it's just so good. And like, there's just little lines like there was like a Twitter exchange where when he first meets Eliza, and there's literally like one line where he delivers it with like a sort of growly voice, which someone tweeted him and was like, oh, was this in like homage?
Oh yeah, I know.
Yeah, was this in like homage to I think like Shaggy or someone like that?
Yeah.
And then my mum responded like, that was why that line is delivered like that.
That's cool. It's also got the My Brother and Me podcast gets referenced in it, which is one of my favourite things because I love them.
Which I think we've spoken about, not on the podcast, but just offline.
Yeah, it's one of my favourite things. I heard about that, and it's in My Brother and Me. They have a running gag where if one of them says unless, like they'll say something really weird and be like, "That's impossible," unless, and then the other two after one another go unless. But in Hamilton, there is a bit where one of them says unless, and then everyone else sings it. They all sing it. It's so good. It's that, and he was like, "Yes, that is because I love My Brother and Me," and they do it, and I was like, "That's so good."
It's insane. It is insane. My bold prediction has gone out the window.
Yeah, nearly an hour in. So unless housekeeping's real short,
we've still got to do reviews yet.
Oh God, fuck! We've done an hour catching up with.
We've been busy.